Despite the so-called truce, Russian factories are still burning. Is it just karma? Infamous Russian incompetence? Or perhaps sabotage? We'll wait for more information. A sudden fire broke out at the Kamaz plant in Naberezhny Chelny, Russia. The cause and potential consequences of the incident remain unknown. Recent strikes on Russia's Shaykovka airbase caused serious damage. All Kh-22 missile support facilities were destroyed. Fires broke out near the fuel station, and even shielded fuel tanks burned. Underground shelters and anti-drone nets couldn't save them. In occupied Kherson's Kakhovka district, a Russian trailer carrying ammunition for frontline troops was blown up. Destroying Russian field ammo is crucial. It weakens their frontline, disrupts logistics, and buys time for counterattacks. Every explosion pushes their supply lines closer to collapse. In the sector of the 46th Airmobile Brigade, Russian forces attempted an assault with 14 units of motorized equipment and around 20 infantrymen. It's clear that the so-called ceasefire only applies to long-range drones and missiles, as assaults continue and guided bombs keep striking the front lines. Russian losses have been so severe that they're now resorting to using motorcycles for attacks. It's a desperate move that shows just how depleted their armored forces have become. Fast, but exposed, and a clear sign of growing weakness on the battlefield. These tactics might work in short bursts, but they come at a high cost in lives and equipment. Russia's so-called truce is nowhere to be seen on the front, says Viktor Tregubov, spokesman for Ukraine's Khortytsia operational group of troops. Despite reduced activity in some areas, clashes continue across multiple fronts, from Lyman to Vovchansk and Chasiv Yar to Pokrovsk.
Well, he's less active. In some directions, there were no clashes in the morning, but there were active clashes at Niska. So we again there were assault actions, if we consider from midnight when they supposedly declared a truce. There were assault actions on the Lyman direction, on the Vovchansk direction, directly in the city of Vovchansk, and on the Kramatorsk direction in Chasiv Yar, on the Toretsk direction in the city of Toretsk and in Shkerbenivka, on the Pokrovsk direction. We already mentioned this. There are generally active attempts to advance across the entire front, and the same on the Novopavlivka direction. So to say that they themselves declared some sort of truce, well, as we see, it is not noticeable at the front, it is not noticeable in the rear.
A single Russian Shahed drone caused tens of millions in damage to Chernobyl's €1.5 billion containment shelter, designed to keep the 1986 disaster sealed. The strike blew a 15-square-meter hole in the roof. Repairs may take years and will likely be funded by Western nations. Trump being weird and vague. Trump and his entourage once again deliver a set of vague and contradictory statements on Ukraine. I think we're making good progress. The fighting is a little different than it was. I think if we weren't involved, Russia might have just kept going. Maybe to take it all. If we can stop the war, that would be a big achievement.
No, I think we're making good progress. The fighting is a little bit different than it was. I think if we weren't involved, Russia would be, going at it to maybe get the whole thing. Without our involvement, they'd be able to get it, because we supplied a lot of different things, foolishly. But we've been sort of paid back by doing the rare earth deal that I talked about before. I think that we will be very much involved in trying to get that bloodbath. It's a bloodbath. It's a horrible situation. 5,000, it's really more than that. But it's 5,000 soldiers on average a week, mostly soldiers, are being killed. Young, beautiful people. I mean, they're being killed. I see the satellite pictures coming back, body parts lying all over fields, heads and arms. It's so terrible. I've never seen anything like it, actually. And if we can get that stopped, that will be a great accomplishment. And we're trying very hard. And I think we're close. And Mr. Witkoff is talking constantly back and forth. He's a real professional. He's got a great relationship with both countries. And I think we have a good chance. And likewise, we're trying to work on Iran to get that solved without having to get into any bombing, as we say, big bombing. I don't want to do that. I want them to work a deal. I want them to be very successful.
Biden attacks Trump for Greenland, Panama. What the hell's going on? What president talks like that? In a BBC interview, Biden slams Trump's rhetoric on Ukraine, calls territorial concessions modern-day appeasement, and says forcing Zelensky to give up land will reward Putin. Listen to how a real U.S. president should be speaking.
Appeasement. Look, listen to what Putin said when he talked about going from Kyiv into Ukraine. And why? He believes it's part of Mother Russia. He believes it's a historical right to Ukraine. He talks about Eastern Europe. What this man wants to do is reestablish the Warsaw Pact. He can't stand the fact that the Russian dictatorship that he runs, that the Soviet Union has collapsed. And anybody thinks he's going to stop is just foolish. And look, we have $1 trillion economies with economic exchanges with Europe. I just don't understand how people think that if we allow a dictator, a thug, to decide he's going to take significant portions of land that aren't his, and that's going to satisfy him, I don't quite understand.
Ukraine may ditch the US dollar and switch to the euro as its main currency, says chairman of the National Bank of Ukraine, Andriy Pishny. With growing ties to Europe and a world trade order in flux, Kyiv is rethinking its financial anchors. The Security Service of Ukraine has uncovered an intelligence network of the Hungarian Military Intelligence Service spying against Ukraine. This is the first time in history that such an operation has been revealed. The press service of the Security Service of Ukraine reported on this. Their task was to gather information about the military security of the Transcarpathian region, identify vulnerabilities in the region's ground and air defenses, and study the socio-political views of local residents. As a result of comprehensive measures in the Zakarpattia region, the SSU detained 2 agents from the Hungarian intelligence network. According to the investigation, the handler of both individuals was a career officer from the Hungarian Military Intelligence Service, whose identity has already been identified by the Security Service, the Special Service reported. It was revealed that one of the agents was a 40-year-old former military man from the Berehov district, who was recruited by the Hungarians and placed on standby mode back in 2021.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.